Hey, what's up, kids? This is your boy, Rock Hard, Rave X, the baddest man in podcasting. We're going to do a little podcast here from an undisclosed location. So I'm not at my usual Blackbird studio, so it's not going to sound all fancy and high quality like you used to. With that being said, enjoy the show. So for Christmas Day, I didn't have nothing to do because my family usually gets together on Christmas Eve. So I decided I was going to go out and see myself a movie. Now, I wanted to see Holmes and Watson because them motherfuckers are funny. John C. Reilly, Will Ferrell, those guys are funny in anything they're in. I would watch those two guys sit on stage and read the phone book to each other because I bet it'd be pretty damn funny. So I get to the movie theater, and first of all, to my surprise, everything is self-service, right? You get your own popcorn, you get your own soda. They even fandangled away. Fandangled? Yeah, they managed to have a way where you get your own damn ticket. So I don't even know why they have people there anymore. Everything is automated, right? Or self-service. You do it all yourself. So I go in there, and I'm looking at all the movies, and I wanted to see Holmes and Watson sold out. Now, my thing is this. I thought, who the hell is going to go see Holmes and Watson on Christmas Day? Apparently, everybody, it was sold out. And then I thought, maybe I'll catch Into the Spider-Verse, even though I don't care about Spider-Man because I'm not like 14 years old and angry at my dad. But I was going to go see Into the Spider-Verse also. Sold out. There was this other movie there with Jennifer Lopez, but like I'm not going to go see a chick movie. I hate those movies, guys. The only thing that was left was The Mule with Clint Eastwood, and I just thought, you know what? I'm here now. Let me just sit down and see this movie. It starts in like 15 minutes. So I go in the theater, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to see this movie. Now, if you guys haven't heard about this, The Mule is a movie with Clint Eastwood who's like, I swear to God, I Googled it before this. He's 117 years old, guys. And he looks every day of 117 years old. Kind of sad because I remember Clint Eastwood from all of those cowboy movies, man. When Clint Eastwood was the baddest motherfucker on the planet with his six shooters, man. Outlaw Josie Wales, Fistful of Dollars for a few dollars more. Clint Eastwood was the man with all of those spaghetti westerns. They call them spaghetti westerns because a lot of them were directed or produced by Sergio Leone. Is that his name? Yeah. So that's why I used to call them spaghetti westerns, right? Because an Italian guy would kind of make them and his vision of what he thought the Old West was. So anyway, The Mule is about this guy who's 117 years old, and he starts muling drugs back and forth for the Mexican cartel. Los Dragas, Los Cartel. And what happens is Clint Eastwood, he's like it was unclear to me, he's like he grew flowers on his land or something like that you could buy for, you know, your wedding and stuff. But then it shows a clip of him from like 20 years ago, and the writing's on the wall. This guy is at, they're at like a flower seminar where everyone talks about their flowers and stuff. And this guy's talking about, you can order your flowers online and we'll ship them to your door in 2 days or less. And it shows Clint Eastwood and he's like, damn internet. So his business starts to go belly up 20 years later. They foreclose on his land. He's estranged from his wife. His daughter hasn't spoke to him in like 10 years and stuff. And he's just this gruff old guy. Now, if you've seen Gran Torino? Yeah, if you've seen that movie, Clint Eastwood was old, but he was old like I'll beat your ass type of old. In this movie, The Mule, he's old like he might need to sit down. Like, are you okay, Grandpa? You know? And he's just, it was just kind of sad. I'm glad that he's still working and stuff and whatever, but he is just a wicked old man, and this might be his last movie, man. Clint could go at any day. And when Clint goes, that's the last of the badass smacking people around with the butt of their gun motherfuckers, because he sure was a symbol of masculinity, as I read today. So anyway, so The Mule starts off, and he's showing up to like his granddaughter's wedding, and you see his wife there, and his wife's mad at him like, you were never around for us, you know, and he's like, I worked 16 hours a day to support this family. You should have just come home, Grandpa. We missed you. I did what I had to do to put food on the table, and that's why I divorced you. So I just summed up the whole like 15-minute shot. That's what happens. So he's leaving, and this Mexican guy, who I guess is a friend of like a bridesmaid or something, it was unclear to me who this dude was, he starts talking to Clint Eastwood about his old 1957 Chevy truck, right? And Clint Eastwood's like, I love driving through America because I love America, and I've been to 41 states. I've never even been pulled over, not as much as a speeding ticket. Now, you can almost see the light bulb go off over the head of this Mexican dude, because he's like, oh, really, Holmes? You've never even been pulled over for like a speeding ticket? Not a one. "Hey man, let me give you this card to some essays I know. They could use you for some work." "What kind of work?" "You know, just like regular work, man, like driving and stuff. You like to drive, don't you, Vato?" "My name's not Vato, it's Earl." "Okay, Earl. Well, you know, if you need some money, you make some extra money, you drive around with these guys." So he takes the card. He claims that he's never going to call him. And he's walking around his property, and it's like all these foreclosure signs. And he calls them, and they're like, "Show up to this gas station on, 95, I-95 or whatever." And he shows up, and it's all these Mexican vatos, almost stereotypical Mexican drug people, right? Like if you were making a move and you said, "Quick, Central Casting, it's me, Dave. I need 5 Mexican drug lords, and I need them ASAP." If they sent you these guys, you'd probably go, "It's a little on the nose, right?" So anyway, he pulls in his truck, and they go, "Hola, Holmes, this is like a really old truck. Where do you want us to make the cut?" And Clint Eastwood's like, "Make the cut for what?" And he goes, "Hola, we have to put the stuff somewhere." And he goes, "No one's cutting my truck. Just put it in the back. It will be fine." So Clint Eastwood doesn't even know that he's transporting drugs, which is kind of weird. Why would you just pull up and let like 5 Mexican gangbangers put a duffel bag in the back of your truck and then just send you on your way, right? And they're kind of like, "Hola, Holmes, you listen to me. You drive to the hotel on Crenshaw, wherever. You put the keys to your truck in the glove compartment. You leave for half an hour. You come back. You check the glove compartment. Your money will be in the glove compartment, Vato." And he's like, "Okay, I got it." And they're like, "Take this phone. If it rings, you answer it. I don't care, day or night. You answer it." And so that's how Clint Eastwood gets into transporting drugs for the Mexican cartel and being a drug mule. And hilarity ensues because he's driving around and he's doing pretty good, right? Because like he doesn't like to stop and fuck around or talk to chicks or whatever. He just drives from point A to point B. And I believe he's in Texas. So he's driving all over Texas and driving into Mexico and back out of Mexico with all these drugs. So the first time he does it, he gets to the drop-off point, and this Mexican guy's like, "Hola, viejo." Viejo's like old man, right? "Viejo, get out of the car, man. Go take a walk. You come back later. We'll have everything ready for you, Vato." He comes back, he looks in the glove compartment, he's got the keys to his truck in there, and there's a manila envelope, and he takes it out and it's like a stack of 20s or something. He's like, "Oh my, look at all this money." Blah, blah, blah. He does that like 5 or 6 times, and eventually he gets to meet one of the head drug cartel kingpin guys, and they like him. They call him, they give him a nickname like Poppy or something like that, right? And he becomes like one of the best cartel drivers because he doesn't ask any questions, he doesn't care. He's making all of this money, and what you find out is he's using this money for good stuff. This is how all these movies are. You do something bad, but you use the money for something good, and that kind of redeems you. So he uses the money to like pay for his granddaughter's wedding. His ex-wife, who doesn't like him, she's dying of cancer, of course. He uses the money to pay off a bunch of those bills, and eventually she does die, and he pays for the funeral with the drug money. And he's just using the money to help the old World War II VFW Hall get back on their feet. And he's a good guy. Everyone likes him. But again, seeing Clint Eastwood shuffle through this movie, man, it was just kind of sad at this point, you know what I mean? But he's got some cool one-liners. You know, he does have some nifty comebacks and some funny things that he says. Now, Clint Eastwood, spoilers, he's an old conservative, right? So, of course, he is going to put his old conservative views into this movie. And that's fine. It was a little on the nose. Like every time he sees someone who's under 40 with a cell phone, he's always like, "You kids today and your cell phones. Why don't you put down your cell phones and look up and enjoy life?" And at one point, he's driving down the road in his black pickup truck because he gets rid of his old pickup truck, he gets a new one, and the drug cartel guys are following him just to keep an eye on him, and they're telling him, "You don't stop, you go straight ahead, and if you ever don't pick up this phone, we're going to kill you, Vato." And there's a scene towards the end, I'm getting ahead of myself, but there's a scene towards the end where he finds out his wife is dying of cancer, as I mentioned, and they're calling him saying, "Dad, please be here, you would never hear for us, please be here." And he's going, "You don't understand, I can't just drop everything I got." And they're going, "You know what, Dad, we hate you." Finally, he's like, "Fuck it. Fuck the drugs. Fuck the cartel. I don't care if they kill me. For once in my life, I'm going to go be with my family." And he shows up, and he's sitting there holding his ex-wife's hand as she's dying of cancer. And she says to him, "How did you get all this money?" And he goes, "I'm a high-cost gigolo." And she laughs. She goes, "No, really?" He goes, I'm a drug mule for the Mexican cartel, and right now I have $2 million of heroin in the back of my truck. And she just looks at him and laughs and goes, oh, you're never going to tell me. Well, whatever, we're glad you're providing, doing all this good stuff with the money. And she dies. He goes to the funeral. Mind you, the cartel's looking for him like, if we don't find him, we're going to kill him. Now, there's a couple of more characters. There's Bradley Cooper and another guy. I can't remember his name. He was in Ant-Man and the Wasp. He's a Hispanic guy. So they're kind of tracking who this new drug mule is for the cartel because they think he's this young kid because he's like the best mule the cartel's ever had. He'll go from A to B in a blink of an eye and not stop. They can't figure out who he is. So Bradley Cooper is tracking him through the whole movie. And at one scene, they both end up in a coffee shop and they're talking. Bradley Cooper's talking about how he missed his daughter's birthday or something. And Clint Eastwood's like, yeah, I missed a lot of that. I used to work 16 hours a day. Let me give you some advice, kid. Make time for your family. And it's funny because at the end, when they actually catch him, Bradley Cooper has him step out the car and walk, the cops do that thing. Walk backwards to the sound of my voice. And at this point, Clint's all bloodied up because the drug cartel caught him because he didn't pick up the phone because he went to his ex-wife's funeral. They roughed him up a little bit. He doesn't care at this point. Oh, let me throw this in here. He doesn't even know he's muling drugs till like halfway through the movie, right? So finally, Bradley Cooper catches Clint Eastwood and he turns him around and he goes, it's you. And Clint Eastwood's like, yeah. It's about time. I was wondering when you guys were going to catch up to me. And Clint Eastwood says to Bradley Cooper, was it because of me you missed your daughter's birthday? And he goes, it was. And there's this nice little moment where they're sitting down in the car and, Bradley Cooper's like, look, man, take care of yourself. Do the best you can do in jail. Sorry this had to go down that way. And Clint Eastwood being the stand-up guy that he is, when he's in jail and if they're telling all these charges, the lawyer's trying to get him off. He's like, look, my client is 90 years old. He didn't know what he was doing. And then Clint Eastwood says, guilty. And the judge is like, Mr. Smith, what? And he goes, I'm guilty. I did it. I did everything you guys accused me of. And I should do the time. And again, this was his message. A lot of this movie is just littered with Clint Eastwood's message on today and people of today and men of today versus how they were, back in his day, 50 years ago. He hates cell phones, Clint Eastwood, I get it. There's this one really funny scene where he stops to get a sandwich and an iced tea, and he's walking back to his truck, and he sees these very burly men trying to get this motorcycle started, and they're hitting the starter. And he turns and he looks down and he goes, oh, a 1968 Harley Davidson flathead. I used to have one of those. It's the capacitor in the starter. That's what it is, guy. And then these two burly men stand up and turn around, and they're not burly men. They're like super butch bull dyke lesbians. I can use that phrase because that's what they call themselves. And they turn around and they go, hey, old man, we're not guys. We're dykes on bikes. And Clint Eastwood goes, no shit. And he goes, yeah. And he goes, well, you go ahead and you get that capacitor changed out, and that will get your bike started. And they go, no shit. Hey, thanks, old man. And he goes, you dykes have a good day. And he walks off. So he's making all these comments about, like, you don't know a man from a woman, all this different stuff. At one point, he's driving down the highway, and he sees a family by the side of the road with their car. And he pulls over, and he goes, you guys need a hand? Now, I could tell, when I saw that it was a black family, I knew this was going to have something to do with them being black, right? And he pulls over and he goes, what's the matter? You don't know how to change a flat tire? Your dad never taught you how to change a flat tire? And the black guy says something like, I never knew my dad, or no, my dad never taught me. And Clint Eastwood's like, that's the problem with you guys today. Something like changing a flat tire, you gotta call up the internet on your phone. And the black dude's like, look, sir, I'm out here with my wife and my daughter. I don't have internet service. Can you help us? And he goes, yeah, I'll help you. And the wife's like, we've been out here for an hour and no one pulled over to help. And he says something like, yeah, people don't like to pull over when they see Negroes. And they look at Clint Eastwood like, Negro, what the fuck? And they go, sir, we don't like being called that. You can call us black if you want, African American. And the woman goes, people? Call us just people? And he goes, oh, I'm sorry, let's get it changed. Anyway, that's how it happens. It wasn't a bad movie. It's not for young folk. If you're young, like if you're 15, 16, 17, you're going to think this is the most boring movie in the world. But it was interesting, the points that Clint Eastwood tries to make with, yes, a lot of people today, if you're under 30, kind of pussies, don't know how to change their own flat tires, use the internet for everything. And his generation, veteran of the Korean War, World War II, yeah, they were kind of tough-ass dudes who would smoke cigarettes, drink whiskeys, smack people around. But there is another sort of message there, which is that time is gone, and let the new people, shape the world the way they see fit. And at the end, he goes to jail, and the very last shot is you see him in there, and the prison has like a area where they're growing flowers and stuff, and they let him be in charge of all the flowers. So, I give this movie from 1 to 10. I'm actually going to give this movie like a 7.5, man, because like I said, there were no ninjas in it, there was no lasers in it, there were no superheroes in it. This was just a good movie, man, about a guy who's on his way out, older guy. Think Old Man Logan, like the movie Logan, except this was for real. And, he did some bad shit, muling drugs around for the cartel, but all of the money went towards good stuff, man. So that is my review of Clint Eastwood's The Mule. Click like, subscribe, and thank you for tuning in. My name's Rave, and I'm out of here.